Oh wow, what an absolute shocker of a headline about Donald Trump throwing his own handpicked board of trustees straight to the wolves and totally ruining their professional lives just so he could frantically try to keep his own name slapped across national buildings. Because we all know career loyalty in that circle is completely permanent and definitely not a one-way street. So let us all pull out our finest acting skills and look entirely blindsided that it completely blew up right in his face. It is honestly so beautiful and totally normal how this entire unhinged situation played out at the historic Kennedy Center, where he literally forced out the original leadership, installed his own personal Yes Men board, named himself chairman, and illegally stamped his own name onto a sacred federal monument dedicated by Congress to a fallen president, only to have a federal judge completely shut down the entire operation and legally order the name to be stripped off the facade within 2 weeks. I mean, the absolute comedy of watching these loyal board members get totally abandoned to face the massive legal and public fallout, while workers are literally out there in the middle of the night, under tarps prying the letters off the marble wall, is just so deeply inspiring. Especially since the administration tried every desperate 11th-hour emergency appeal under the sun, only to be told that Congress gave the building its name, and a president cannot just use public infrastructure as a personal corporate branding billboard. The reality of this situation is just so deeply embarrassing and hilarious at the same time, seeing this massive power trip crumble into total humiliation while his own frantic trustees are left holding the bag for a preordained multi-million-dollar disaster that alienated artists and audiences alike, proving once again that the exact second a backroom loyalty scheme stops serving the main ego, everyone else gets tossed directly under the bus without a single shred of hesitation. But hey, let's keep playing along with the political theater and pretending that this sudden, chaotic blame-shifting and complete legal meltdown isn't the most predictable insider game in the entire world from someone who treats public service like a private reality TV show. And in other news, do not forget Trump gets no credit in the end of Iran attacks. The court obligated him, so he had no choice. What an absolute shocker of a headline about Donald Trump and his entire cabinet taking a massive victory lap over this sudden, magical peace deal with Iran, while simultaneously making Vice President J.D. Vance the ultimate fall guy to own the messy fallout. Because we all know career politicians are completely famous for taking full responsibility when their own aggressive, chaotic strategies start to backfire. So let us all pull out our finest acting skills and look entirely blindsided. It is honestly so beautiful and totally normal how the administration loves to stand at the microphones and loudly brag about being the ultimate peacemakers who successfully negotiated an end to the conflict, conveniently hoping we all get a massive case of collective amnesia and completely forget that Trump himself literally launched this exact, unpopular 3-month-old war in the first place, completely rattling global oil markets and getting us bogged down in a total mess before the overwhelming pressure from Congress, the legal threat of war powers resolutions, and collapsing public support completely forced his hand to find an immediate exit ramp. The sheer comedy of watching them panic behind closed doors when the absolute destruction of Iran's entire regime didn't happen overnight, only to quickly pivot and dispatch Vance to Geneva to sign the actual papers, so they have a preordained scapegoat if the ceasefire goes sideways, is just so deeply inspiring. The reality of this situation is just so deeply embarrassing and hilarious at the same time. Seeing this massive power trip crumble into a frantic scramble for public relations damage control, while normal people are out here in the real world paying ridiculous prices at the gas pump and watching their hard-earned taxpayer dollars get burned up in an unnecessary foreign conflict that ended right back where it started, proving once again that the exact second a backroom military gamble stops serving the main ego, the yes men get tossed directly under the bus to protect the corporate brand. But hey, let's keep playing along with the political theater and pretending that this sudden, Chaotic blame shifting and complete spin job isn't the most predictable insider game in the entire world from a group that only cares about taking credit for fixing a disaster they deliberately engineered themselves. We are sitting here looking around at this absolute circus, honestly wondering how on earth we got to this point, but the answer is so incredibly simple it almost hurts. Our laws, our Congress, and our senators sat back and willfully allowed Donald Trump and his entire cabinet to slide right past every single boundary of accountability, completely rewriting the rules of the game while the rest of us are forced to pay the price. Let us please take a lovely trip down memory lane and not forget how the Republican Congress and senators literally stomped all over our heads to pass that massive corporate tax bill, completely turning their backs on everyday American people who are out here actually working for a living. It is funny how there are endless, strict laws perfectly designed to keep regular citizens neatly in our place so we do not react to the absolute garbage being done to us. But the second a criminal behavior takes over the White House, suddenly the system develops a massive case of collective amnesia. And trust me when I tell you, these politicians will eventually crawl out of the woodwork with their pathetic little excuses, whining about how they were just following protocol or just doing their jobs. But let us call a spade because they are nothing but a bunch of total cowards. We do not forgive this betrayal. We do not forget who sold us out. And the only real justice left is watching every single one of them swap their expensive business suits for actual jail sentences, which means we have to keep pushing the pressure and demanding real consequences without backing down. I am also completely done hearing the sob stories about how Trump is getting too old, too fragile, or too ill to handle a prison cell. Because let us be real for a second, the state has absolutely no problem arresting regular people like us who are literally battling stage 4 cancer. So no, we do not care about his comfort or his age at the end of the day, because he is just a regular human being, not some holy lord or untouchable king. And we want to see every single person involved in this corruption finally sitting behind bars where they belong. Those who love stalking pages to attack with laughing faces. You can save the laughing faces because I was not searching for your approval or opinions.